I've often stated that Ripple custody will be a major area of concentration in the future, and if we take a closer look at it now, it appears to be one of the most important areas we ought to have been concentrating on. Since we now have nearly everything we need, I'm happy that I have started creating videos about this and why it is such a crucial topic. In order for the major actions to start, and I'm not only referring to price activity when I mention the big moves, I'm referring to TradFi's moves on the chain. That being stated, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Nick is my name. If you are new to the channel, I hope you will subscribe by end of this video. Let's get started with this post. This dates all the way back to November 2024.xr. Tropes submitted this, stating that Ripple's custody guide for banks lists several use cases for banks. The next development in cryptocurrency exchanges is Ripple Custody, the digital asset custody guide for banks, digital asset custody quick guide for banks, and use cases for banks are all taken directly from the Ripple website. By leveraging digital asset custody and tokenization infrastructure, that enables full control over the operating and security models such as flexible deployments, customer-hosted environments, or hybrid or flexible key management models, multi-party computation and/or hardware security modules. Banks can bring to market innovation, new use cases, including tokenization and digital asset servicing use cases, such as issuance and custody of tokenized securities, and real-world asset, RWAs, cryptocurrency, custody and trading wallets for institutional high net worth and retail clients, tokenized securities, registry platform operated as a service for institutional investors, building sub-custody networks for global service coverage, structured products with crypto and digital asset underlying issuance and custody of commodity-backed tokens, allowing broader investor base to directly invest into commodities such as gold or other rare metals, tokenized bank deposits to create a payment medium within a bank or within a consortia of banks, the elimination of manual reconciliation of books and records at various stages of a transaction from issuance to distribution, trading, settlements, and asset servicing. Additionally, just so you can see it, let's open this in a new tab. You notice the small area on the right? Open up the $20 trillion market for digital assets. By 2030, it is anticipated that up to 10% of all assets would be tokenized and represented on public or private blockchains, marking an important turning point in the institutional adoption of digital assets. And we can see that you have all of this planned out with Ripple Custody, Forge with Societe Generale, BBVA, DZ Bank, DecaBank, VP Bank, BCB Group, Archix, TOG, Union Bank, DBS, Zodiac Custody with Standard Chartered, Rollmatch, VDX, and Go FinTech are among the major banks at the bottom. Ripple is becoming into the bank of banks, guys. We have Smoke Dog over here, which is why Ripple introduced cryptocurrency custody for banks. Biden's veto of SAP 121 is anticipated to be overridden by Trump, opening the door for U.S. Tier 1 investment banks to offer crypto custody services. By 2025, it is expected that U.S. banks would have widely adopted crypto custody. Ripple anticipated this change. The OCC confirmed in a letter in 2020 that nationally chartered banks are able to offer their clients crypto custody services. Banks have a profitable and unavoidable chance to guarantee their position in the custody of tokenized assets, one that Ripple and banks don't want to miss. This was uploaded back in November of last year, by the way. In fact, we have a red sweep right here. What are the ramifications? And now we have fundamentals that are almost universally bullish, only heightened. Another unexpected notch. U.S. Tier 1 investment banks are invited to introduce crypto custody services after Trump overrides Biden's SAP 121 veto. It will have a cascading effect on other nation-states that follow suit if it is passed. In a structural sense, nation-state hoarding raises demand, which in turn supports higher prices. Here. Is it time for banks to interact with consumers of cryptocurrency assets? Adoption of crypto assets is spreading from the outskirts of banking to the world's biggest and most vulnerable trading hubs. The moment is too important for banks to ignore. The U.S. Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, or OCC, recently gave national banks and federal savings associations more information, or rather, certainty. According to an interpretation letter published by the OCC in July 2020, banks operating inside the national system are authorized to offer cryptocurrency custody services. To customers at the bottom, the OCC has finally made progress with an interpretive letter dated January 4, 2021, which clarifies that national banks and federal savings institutions can use stablecoins to conduct payment activities and participate in independent node verification networks, or INVN, if they are dependent on them. Now, if we look at this right now, SAP 121 has been the subject of a lot of discussion over here. The primary driver of cryptocurrency price growth is the impending repeal of SAB 121.1. Additionally, you will be able to borrow against your cryptocurrency if Bitcoin banks are allowed to hold it. Likewise, if there were no mortgages and you had to pay with cash, how much would real estate cost? And yes, pay attention, this is going to be a huge event. Institutions have already informed you, correct? It is expected to have a cascading effect on other nation-states if it is implemented. In a structural sense, nation-state hoarding raises demand, which in turn supports higher prices. We have from Fred Thiel, the chairman and CEO of Marrow Holdings, if we return here. For those of you who are unaware, this is a Bitcoin mining company, and the weather is getting favorable. The CEO of Bank of America claims that if authorities permit it, banks will embrace cryptocurrency payments. Now, I did discuss this when it was fully announced, correct? Chris Giancarlo, who has been an advocate for Ripple and XRP for a long time, from 2020, for instance, when the SEC case was announced, was one of the people we spoke with extensively about it. This was the previous chairman of the CFTC. He is also one of the individuals involved in the digital dollar initiative. But we have, believe me, Fred, it will occur. Listen, so you guys recall, I wrote a post on this. After a partial victory in the SEC battle, Ripple did inform us that US banks would want to adopt the cryptocurrency XRP. I even mentioned that following the victory in 2023, Ripple had stated that US banks will want to utilize XRP. With banks scrambling to offer cryptocurrency services and eventually incorporate it into routine operations, I believe the floodgates are about to open. Bank of America stated explicitly that they wish to use cryptocurrency within payments, guys. All right? How are they able to accomplish this? They must also take care of cryptocurrency.